Good evening, welcome everybody to another episode of Section 305, the Sports Show. I'm Raul Pagan with my colleagues Anthony Aguirre and Nick Dupont. How's it going, fellas?
Hey,
What's up, boys? What's up? It's been a minute.
I need some painkillers. I've been fighting through the last few days.
Respect that you're going through it and you're
Yeah,
capable to
so we're
manage
filming
today's show, so we appreciate that.
we are filming on a Wednesday. Thankfully, we didn't film on a Monday because if not, I would not have been a go at all. But thank God today's a much better day. So glory to God.
God's plan.
Anthony, it's funny that you said you need the painkillers because I think Raul might need them right now.
Can I borrow some of them?
For our first two topics, you already know.
Can I borrow some of them, first of all? And second of all, you said that you couldn't on Monday because you were under the weather. I remember 2 weeks ago, I was the same, and I appreciate you guys that we could have pushed this to another day. So that's why we understand you, Anthony. But
Yes, sir.
I wasn't even going to be able to make it on Monday because I'm still going through it. This is worse than breaking up with my exes. This are the worst feelings. I don't like any of my friends, not even my worst enemy, to be going through. This 2020 decade has been mostly bad and then a little good. Good, the Panthers are back-to-back champions, even though probably they're not going to make the playoffs this season, but still, they won their first two titles. The Florida Gators, first time in 2 decades, finally win a March Madness. But, guys, my Heat lost in 2020, 2023, which they were not the favorites, I understand, but it still stains.
Yeah.
My Yankees won the World Series. They were not the favorites. It still stains. And then the Patriots are back at the Super Bowl. Not the favorites. I get it. Stains. And in every single of those finals, I root for the opposite team as a sports analyst. Obviously, as a fan, I was rooting for mine to see if there was a miracle happening. Life doesn't work that way. Only in certain important situations like health, which I'd rather have that for me, my family, and you guys, my friends, than a team winning a title. But guys, I'm going through it. Those are going to be one of the 3 topics of today. And now, mostly of what we're going to be talking about at Section 305, the sports show, is going to be related to the New England Patriots. But let's start on a positive note because we have an important message to
Yes, we do.
let you guys know that now I have no reason or anybody to leave the Dolphin Mall in Miami, in South Florida, because the Metropol Restaurant is finally here. They have the best Puerto Rican and Cuban food, dishes, cuisine, traditional dishes like stuffed chicken, seafood, mofongo, fried pork, ribs, and much more. Anthony, I know that right now, since you haven't been able to eat well this past few days, I know that you're probably going to be a little bit distracted with this. But hey, what a better way that when the hunger kicks in to order it on Uber Eats and you can watch the games at the same time. Probably that's going to be now a head start for you to start feeling better for the rest of the remaining week.
I mean, hey, man.
Are you going to be able to concentrate now?
I'm able to concentrate, brother. Yes. I mean, hey, my stomach's feeling a lot better. So, hey, what a better way to cash out?
Yes, sir. So, guys, that was a positive note. Now let's go basically to a serious one, a depressing one for me, and then something that finally we can applaud Anthony of a team in the NBA that is starting to roll. But before that, Anthony, calm down. Before that, why don't we start going with the NFL, which we were going to talk about this last week, but at the same time, since we had too many headlines, especially the NBA trade, Super Bowl predictions, and what a way to include this topic with the same franchise that just appeared in the Super Bowl, surpassed expectations, but lastly got lastly at the same time got a beatdown. So, 8-time Super Bowl winner Bill Belichick and owner of the New England Patriots Robert Kraft didn't receive enough votes to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. I'm going to start with Nick first. Nick, Is this the biggest stain in football?
Listen, man. And I'm sorry if I cut. I'm having a lot of major technical issues right now. So just let me know if I need to.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Honestly, man, at the beginning when I first looked at it, yes, I would say it was a stain on football. And honestly, I thought he got robbed. But the more I look at it, man, the voters didn't put him in there for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, and my biggest argument is like he had the greatest quarterback of all time on those teams every single year, you know? Like, and we saw it immediately once Tom Brady left that team struggled almost immediately. It was not a good moment. Sorry, guys. People walked into the office for a second. Every time I record one of these episodes, I got people walking into my office. It's ridiculous. I don't understand.
Oh man.
No, but for the most part,
you gotta tell them class is in session.
I mean, honestly, I'm gonna have to say that. I'm gonna have to start screaming it out loud.
You gotta put a sign outside.
Look, a sign out. That's exactly what I'm gonna say.
Show in production.
Do not disturb. I'm gonna put the red light on outside the doors now. That's what I'm gonna have to say.
Right now says classes in session. If you know what I mean, if you enter, you're gonna regret it.
Hold on. Now it's jeez. But now, going back to what I was saying before, the Patriots, you know, they've had a dynasty for a very long time. And honestly, I give majority of this credit to Robert Kraft for building these teams. You know, Bill Belichick, one of probably the greatest defensive-minded head coach of our generation, of any generation, in my opinion. You know, definitely missed out on this opportunity. But for the most part, guys, we got to look at the big picture. Like, these teams were built to win. You know, Tom Brady was one of the greatest quarterback of all time on these teams, you know. Like, I want to make the argument that Tom Brady kind of carried Belichick to these moments, you know. But it's hard to say. And you know, Raul looks mad about it already with me saying it. And I'm having technical issues, so he's like freezing up on my screen. But for the most part, man, I don't consider it a stain on football. I think the voters had a really good reason for this. And even if Robert Kraft isn't voting for Bill Belichick, his former head coach, for these reasons, I think it really just shows how great Tom Brady was rather than Bill Belichick. Again, he will make the Hall of Fame at some point.
Robert Kraft also was out of the first ballot Hall of Fame.
There you go. You know, but I think Robert Kraft should get in there at some point. I think at some point he will get in. Maybe it's also because of the cheating scandals that they've been struggling with. But for the most part, I'm gonna have to give it to Brady, bro. I think Brady was the main reason on why they won those games. You know, like, yeah, great coaching on the defensive end and offensive end, but overall, man, Tom Brady led them to those games and won those games because we even saw it after he left the Patriots, winning with the Buccaneers. So I'm sorry, but this isn't a stain on football. I think the voters were right by this. At first, I would have said no, but I think the voters were right by this.
Anthony.
Regardless of circumstances, your accolades are your accolades. Because, Nick, if you're saying that those teams should have won, that makes even more pressure to actually do it and win it. And that should bring some more respect to it. Because how many teams do we see every year in all sports built to supposedly win a championship and they fall short of doing so? So if anything, Bill.
Well, Anthony.
Everyone's having technical issues today, I guess.
But you know what's crazy? Production, can you please get him back? Because you are having a good argument and a good take, Nick.
I don't know what the hell is going on, man.
But I was also interesting in how Anthony was trying to basically debate that. So, production, can you please maintain Anthony here? Because even though your take was good, Nick, I was getting more interested in Anthony's right now. So, Anthony, please.
I was cooking.
The floor is yours. Continue. Don't be distracted. Don't be distracted.
I just lost all my aura.
Keep the sauce. Keep the sauce. Come on, man.
But dude, like, if Bill won all these championships with teams that are supposed to win, I think that brings you more respect because you delivered when many teams have actually choked. Yeah, you talk about Nick Fuentes and you talk about Eli Manning twice. Regardless, still, no other coach can just step in there and just take over. Like we see, like personnel matters. So Bill not getting in, I think mainly for him, Robert Kraft, of course, but I think for Bill specifically, it is a massive snub, probably the biggest snub. When you look at the NBA, it's obviously very different, but I'm not comparing this like to the same extent because it's not the same. But one thing I look at is Robert Horry, 7-time NBA champion, I believe it was 3 with the Lakers, 2 with the Rockets, and 2 with the Spurs.
Yep.
He was a massive contributor in those championships, but somehow he's not in the
He's
Hall
not a
of
Hall of
Fame.
Fame.
He's not a Hall of Famer. Come on now.
A lot of clutch shots.
Fair, you're
X
comparing two
factor
different
that
players
changed the
at
out.
that point.
Yeah,
No,
and again, it's not a similar comparison because, of course, it's two different tiers of just people. But that's the way how I see it. Kind of, it's like it doesn't make sense. You don't if Bill's not a Hall of Famer, then nobody is. You can't say Andy Reid's a Hall of Famer, a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I mean, I agree with that, but here's
Bill,
where I come from
Bill,
with this.
No way, yeah.
And
Bill,
I want to pin back on the point where you said like not any head coach can just do this. You know, if we look, I want to look at Mike Vrabel as a prime example for this. You know, Mike Vrabel gets hired in this one season, and a lot of people looked at this team, at this Patriots team, and it's like, this team can't do anything. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to be a little bit above average, if anything. I looked at them as a very good team from the beginning of the season. I had playoff aspirations for them. I didn't see a Super Bowl aspiration for them, but they ended up doing it anyways. I think.
Yeah.
I really do think this goes to Robert Kraft in this scenario, because at the end of the day, he's the one who's been able to build these teams and keep these teams just as competitive as they were because of the culture that he set in New England. So, you know, for me, like, yeah, you lost Bill Belichick afterwards, and then you get OJ Mayo coming in, and you already saw how that was with OJ Mayo was a disaster. And then they bring in a guy like Mike Vrabel, who's already had previous success in big games, you know, taking the Tennessee Titans with Ryan Tannehill to the AFC Championship, bringing back that Patriots culture, a guy who used to be on the Patriots. So I agree what you're saying. Not any coach can do this, but with the way that this culture is set and with the coaches and players that they do get, they just know how to win, and it all stems back to the ownership, in my opinion.
Also, it just real quick, if we're gonna talk about cheating scandals, so when Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, when it's their time, we're gonna talk about the whole referee scandals. However, call one. Are we gonna? I mean, are the voters gonna hold that same standard? Because I bet you they won't.
That's a good point.
I mean, again, there has been like really no confirmation on those cheating scandals within those games. You know, at least with like Tom Brady and Deflategate, for example, that was something that was confirmed. Or even Bill Belichick hiring someone to get a drone over a player's practice facilities just to spy on them in the practices. You know, that was something that's actually been done and confirmed for the most part. But again, a lot of this.
No, go ahead. Go. My bad. Finish.
No. I mean, again, I was just gonna say, like, this all stems back to Robert Kraft, in my opinion, for building these teams the way they are. And again, I'm not trying to discredit Coach Belichick for anything, because he's one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Wasn't the drone thing with Jim Harbaugh in the Michigan program? I never heard about Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
That was also them. But Bill Belichick also did something similar with them, with the Patriots, where they had spies going to players' practice facilities. He had spies going to facilities and record their plays and stuff like that. So yes, it was a mix of Harbaugh did do something similar.
I don't know about that,
but the Patriots also had.
So do we keep Tom Brady out when he's eligible?
I mean, that's where
I think it's a whole different story.
That's where I was gonna start my take.
All right, Raul, go ahead and cook, man.
I don't think so.
So, all right, we've had the Vince Lombardis of this world winning 5 championships in 7 years with the Green Bay Packers. We've had the Bill Walsh, known as the genius, who revolutionized the game with the West Coast offense, winning 3 Super Bowls with the 49ers. We've had the Paul Browns of this world, the Tom Landry that brought the Dallas Cowboys to 20 consecutive winning seasons. We have the Andy Reids, like we just mentioned. We have the Don Shula, which you're going to like that one. The NFL's winning as coach with 328 regular season wins and only a perfect season 1972 with the Miami Dolphins. Aren't all of them Hall of Famers?
I mean, absolutely. I agree. And listen, I'm not trying to discredit Anthony with the accolades, because the accolades do speak for themselves, and I do agree on that end. But there's a lot of other things that do apply. But continue.
All right. So I'm gonna go a different direction. Reasons why I feel like neither him or Bill Belichick. A good take factor that you just mentioned was the balls. You're right. You're right about that. That's something that we can take in consideration. That stains not only their reputation, the franchise, and the NFL, but mostly I feel the voters that didn't elect them to be first ballot Hall of Famers, envious and hate. Envious and hate, because remember, guys, Bill Belichick, when have you heard him being like the most humblest person or the humblest coach?
None.
Like inside and outside. All you've heard him being like super verbal and aggressive with his players just to get the beast out of them, which players, how do you say, accepted that and they understand it and they thank him for that. He pushed them over the limit, heights that he knew they could have escalated to. And then Robert Kraft, even though I've heard more positive things about him, in this case, with the Bill Belichick situation, I feel is more about hatred, and Robert Kraft, envious. Because, guys, this has been like the best trio in NFL history of an owner, coach, and a player.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Belichick is a eight-time, 6 as a head coach, 2-time as a defensive coordinator of the New York Giants. And we can talk all show, but we don't got that time to talk about like
No, we don't.
all of his accolades. All of his accolades, because it's a lot. 12 times in the Super Bowl, that's most. 6 times champion as a head coach, that's most. 8-time Super Bowl, that's the most as a defensive coordinator and as a coach. And then we can talk about the rest of his resume, but it's too long. That's how great he is. And Robert Kraft, mind I say, Nick, since you spoke of when Tom Brady left in his first year, one with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's when we basically labeled him to be the greatest of all time, because he can prove that he can win Super Bowl rings without the New England Patriots. And basically that's where he said that, see, if people are going to talk about who was the main factor, was it Robert Kraft with the big moves that he was doing throughout 2 decades, the draft selections, veteran signing, basically surrounding Tom Brady with the weapons that he needs offensively. And they have been mostly a consistent defensive team than an offensive team, especially after Tom Brady left. Their defense never implode. It's always efficient, and that's where they like to focus more, because defense wins championships. We just saw how the Seahawks slaughter Drake May. Slaughter. And what I hated from that game is that I got to watch it with Nick Dupont, that from the start to the end, he was giving me hopes and hopes and hopes. And I'm like, Nick, where are you living at? Wake up. This is real life.
I'm a Dolphins fan. I like to hate watch a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
And the score was 12-0 in the beginning of the fourth quarter. 12-0, because the Seahawks weren't putting points. You know why? Because of the Patriots defense. I know Bill Belichick is not there, but he basically created and left a foundation of how efficient that team for 3 decades have been in that position. Also, I got to point out, guys, we talked about this a couple episodes ago. You guys were mad. I'm not going to say hating or envious. I'm not going to include those type of words like the voters that didn't select Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick to be first ballot Hall of Famers. I'm going to say you guys are mad and frustrated, because I want to understand. We would thought Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, even the New York Jets, when they got Aaron Rodgers, with Garrett Wilson, when they started signing Alan Lazar, if I'm not mistaken, and running backs, and then that defense, which was legit. We would have thought those 3 teams would have made it to the Super Bowl before the Patriots came back. But that's what Robert Kraft did. He saw that Bill Belichick, as a general manager, wasn't doing a good job. And what he did to Mac Jones, a lot of people also going to criticize him, signing 2 defensive coordinators as an offensive coordinator, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. We saw how bad they were as head coaches. And that affected Mac Jones. I would have thought Mac Jones still should have been a Patriot. They went in another direction, but that direction started when he fired Bill Belichick, because he gave him an ultimatum. We would like to keep you as a coach, but as a general manager, we need somebody new in the front office. It's not working. Every year we're getting worse. And Bill Belichick, obviously with his ego, said, no, I want to be both. It's both or nothing. And so Robert Kraft had to take the most toughest decision next to or a little bit less than letting Tom Brady walk out the door. Because for me, that was like Pat Riley leaving Dwayne Wade walk out the door, the face of the franchise. And so sometimes presidents, general manager, owners make a mistake. But still, is that going to affect did that affect Pat Riley to be your first ballot Hall of Famer? Is that going to affect
Absolutely
him?
Not.
Did that affect Mickey Harrison?
No.
Exactly. Dwayne Wade, first ballot Hall of Famer. Chris Bosh and the rest of the players like Shaquille O'Neal and Somoni have been selected. So that's why I feel, remember, we were the most hated team from 2010 to 2014, the Miami Heat. Did that cost Chris Bosh a first ballot Hall of Fame? Did that cost Dwayne Wade? Did that cost Mickey Harrison? That's not going to cost Pat Riley. Or
I think there's
even LeBron James. So I'm just gonna finish with this topic. This is more of a hatred and envious scene with the actual owner of the Patriots and the recent head coach. Because right now, Robert Kraft has turned this team back to be contenders. Bill Belichick, just to finish and wrap this up, guys, we don't talk about the defense. The defense was legit in those Super Bowl. We could say that the one that they actually were going to be the main factor of them losing was against the Falcons. 28-3. And then for the rest of the 17 minutes of that game, they didn't allow a point. Tom Brady and that offense came back and win it. Last Super Bowl they won. What was the final score? 13-3. Against the Seahawks, Malcolm Butler, interception. Even though everybody knew Marshawn Lynch had to run that ball, Pete Carroll cost that Super Bowl for the Seahawks. They should have had 3 and 2 against the Patriots. I understand that. But allowing 24 points with that offense that Russell Wilson had, especially with Marshawn Lynch, that's basically a decent performance. In their third Super Bowl win, they allowed 21 points to Philadelphia Eagles. Second Super Bowl win, all right, just like the Falcons, we can credit more the offense. Tom Brady, final score 32-29. And against that St. Louis Rams that a lot of people were talking about, first Super Bowl win for them, final score 20-17. So we got to give credit to a 2-time defensive coordinator, Super Bowl champion. And let's just say either divide it or give 4 of those Super Bowl titles. A lot of credit to Bill Belichick with that defense being ready day in and night out. And then we can give either 2 or 3 because of those comebacks the Patriots made against the other teams that they won Super Bowl titles with, Tom Brady and the offense. Because remember, during the regular season and the playoffs, Tom Brady balled. And then the Super Bowl, he came in clutch, and that's why he is the most respected player. And that's a good point what you said, Anthony. If they are not selected to the first ballot Hall of Famer, do you imagine Tom Brady? I doubt it because he's a lovable guy. That's the only reason why I feel, apart from his accolades and his resume, he's safe because he's humble and everybody loves him. But this is a hatred and envious type of scene we're seeing with
real quick
NFL.
Before we move on. It was literally just posted that Doc Rivers is a finalist for being in the Hall of Fame this year.
And we can talk about him for days.
Like, if Doc Rivers can somehow get in, and yet Bill and oh my god, I can't even.
You don't even have to finish it, Anthony.
Nah.
We agree. We can both say we agree.
Also, I think we lost Nick. Nick. Okay, yeah, we lost him.
All right, so he's having a little technical difficulty. So let's see. Yep, see the production. Me and Anthony are gonna jump into We're gonna keep moving. We're gonna talk about the Super Bowl, but then Anthony, you have like a last word about this topic.
After seeing just Doc Rivers right now.
All right, no. About
I'm saying like after seeing that on X, it just like we've seen obviously there's more controversy to the NFL Hall of Fame than there is to the NBA,
of course,
but it's just like this was the wrong move. I think as when you're in media, you gotta put your personal like things aside, like you gotta put your personal interactions away and just think of, okay, what did they do for the game? because we can't base these votes just on okay, what was our interaction with them? No, that that
what was
is
our relationship with them? If we
exactly
liked him or
that is
not.
that is completely wrong. I'm not asking for voters to even identify themselves
That's
or,
BS.
or share how they vote because
Yeah,
I know they
of
won't.
course.
But
Yeah,
it is ridiculous that you put your feelings too much into the voting. Yeah.
I completely agree. And also, just like you said, like personal aside, as a sports analyst, as people,
Let's try to move on, Raul,
uh,
but go ahead.
as sports analysts, as people that are working in this industry, and get that privilege, because it's a privilege and respect that they give you a vote, which whether it is the NFL awards, NBA awards, MLB, Hall of Fame, etc. You don't have to like him, but you gotta respect him.
Nick,
You know
you all
how
good, bro?
you might.
Yeah, I had a quick minute take if that was okay for you guys, because I know we're
You're,
getting
you're
a little
good. You're
fast
good.
topic.
So Anthony
Okay.
already had his last word. All I'm saying
So-
is it's BS. That's my
Okay.
final take.
I completely understand where you guys come from, and I'm gonna do this in a minute. Anthony, you can time me on this.
Mm-hmm.
Once
That's okay.
again, guys, we have to look at the accolades from, and you guys were mentioning Brady, for example, and you guys said some things about Brady that made me even question myself on my take. But again, doesn't that show how great Brady is for him to be able to leave his team
Yeah,
and
of
go
course.
and win championships? And again, like you were talking about, I never discredited Bill Belichick for not being a great defensive coach. I said he was the best defensive coach of our generation and even generations before. If anything,
Yeah.
I'd be as far as saying he's the best defensive coach of all time. But again, you guys kept pointing out the main benefactor of all these teams, Robert Kraft, who's been able to get this culture and this team right by making the big moves and the big acquisitions that he's had to make in order for this team to get to where it is. Yes, Robert Kraft should make the Hall of Fame as well at some point, just like Bill Belichick at some point. But when it comes to the Deflategate back in 2015 or Spygate in 2007, or even the incident where they got caught recording in Cleveland Browns box rooms, press rooms for their games. Like, there's a lot of situations that go into play, and I just don't want to single out the cheating as the main factor. But there were some things in there that were very questionable, and you could say something about the Chiefs and maybe how yes, like games were turned or games were fixed for the referees, but there's been no confirmation on it, just like these things. And even that's maybe why Robert Kraft hasn't been inducted yet into the Hall of Fame, because of those little things that people have looked at and been like, okay, it's kind of sus. Or even the most controversial call of all time, the Tuck rule, for example. No one ever heard of the Tuck rule in that moment, you know? So that's my take, at least. I don't think it's a stain on football. I think it's fine where it's at. Just wait till Bill retires full time from football as a whole. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
All right, let's move on to the current Patriots. Raul, we gotta do it, man.
You speak. I'll
Get,
put production. Can you please put the banner? Just put the banner.
All
Let
right.
these guys
This
speak.
is obviously a painful one for Raul. We don't do this to hurt him. We do it because it's business. But the New England Patriots win their second Super
The
Bowl.
New England. I wish. I wish. I
Raul.
wish.
This is how you know. This is how you know.
All right. Nah, man. You did it on purpose, man. Because you want me to say it.
You guys know I'm still recovering. But
Nah.
the Seattle Seahawks win their second Super Bowl in franchise history after dominating the Patriots 29-13.
You can say blowout as well.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a blowout. I mean, to me, a blowout would be like freaking 38-19. But can you pull up the question, please, Raul, for us? What went wrong for the New England Patriots?
Anthony, you get the first word because.
All right.
Yeah, hey, man, you get to start this one off.
I mean, for me, obviously the biggest factor was Kenneth Walker. One thing I love about him as a running back
Super Bowl MVP
is his patience. You couldn't stop him. There were some moments where the Patriots actually did show some okay, they were on him and they were able to stop him for a few moments in the beginning of the game, but then towards the end he was really breaking through some gaps. But one of the things I love about a running back is their patience. They dissect the field, see which way is the best to go, even if they have to break the play up, just move somewhere else instead of just running forward and just getting into a dog pile with a bunch of big guys. So I think that was where things went wrong, is the lack of stopping the run game. I think we obviously knew Kenneth was like a reliable running back, but he really rose in these playoffs. And I think, of course, with the Patriots not really like focusing on him. Obviously, your focus was on JSN for most moments, but without
He got injured afterwards.
he came back. He was out for like I think it was like most of the third, if I'm not mistaken.
They
But
target more Cooper Cup.
yeah,
He
and
led in receptions and yards.
but
In the
even
wide
then,
receiver core. What I'm trying to say.
even then, I felt like the Patriots did a decent job defensively on him. I'm not saying great, but I would say decent. I want to give him credit there. But I think just once Kenneth Walker broke through and just could not stop, like that's where things went wrong for the Patriots. I think that was the moment where they realized, oh damn, we are totally screwed, and the defense can't just save you this time. Nick, you want to get this word, or Raul, do you want to get this word in? Nick?
Yeah. Let Raul have this word.
Nicholas. All right.
All right, Nick.
I'll go because I don't got that much to say. I'm gonna go straight point. Anthony, I like what you said because the New England Patriots finished off the season 8th in efficiency. They were not better than all the teams that they beat during the playoffs. And then they couldn't find a way to contain Kenneth Walker. When they were ranked top 6 in rushing yards allowed, and Kenneth Walker literally, mostly in the second half, just ran over their throats. Whether he had to scramble from a couple of plays, whether that O-line did their job creating space for him and getting a couple of first downs and accumulated certain yards so they can be in a better position for a field goal. Guys, I got to remind you, it was 12-0. No touchdowns. It was all field goal. Their kicker, I thought was going to win the Super Bowl MVP. That's what I thought that was going to happen. And that was going to even stain more. When have we seen a kicker win a Super Bowl MVP? They gave it to Kenneth Walker because he had over 170 yards running, which mad respect. But who actually accumulated most of that offense points, bro? It was the damn kicker. And I'm not going to say that, he's the main reason, but Jason Myers scored 17 points out of the 29. Isn't that
history?
That's a little history. At the same time, the offense scored 12. Aside from him, 17, and he went perfect. His longest field goal was 41. It's not like he had a 50-yard, like in a couple of situations. Only 40. So that stains. But I'm going to go clearly, guys, with that defense. Drake May was more scared than Patrick Mahomes, both Super Bowl losses against the Buccaneers and the Eagles. Remember those 2 times that Patrick Mahomes was running for his damn life? Drake May was more scared of that defense. What did I say? Just to wrap it up and give it to you, Nick, because we got a brawl to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'm not afraid of Sam Darnold. I'm not afraid of that offense. Yeah, JSM, Jackson Smith-Njigba is a threat. Cooper Kupp, he won a Triple Crown with the Rams and the Super Bowl MVP. And Kenneth Walker, that running game, beautiful.
Absolutely.
I'm more afraid of that defense. I was even more afraid of that defense than the Chargers, which was number 5 in the league, than the Texans, which was number 1, and the Broncos, which was number 2. After seeing what their offense was producing, him having one of the lowest QBRs in a postseason, having, if not the most, in a Super Bowl, we got to give credit to that elite defense, which forced 2 interceptions, 1 including a Pete 6, Ukena Nowusu, 6 sacks, and a fumble lost. Look at all the turnovers that they forced Drake May to do. So I got to give more credit to that defense. And that's what went wrong with the Patriots. They panicked. Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels, their play call was horrible. I'm sorry, guys. This was a slaughter, even though you want to call it a blowout. If it's not a blowout, it's a slaughter. Because they were humiliated. Guys, Sam Darnold went, just to finish this, he only scored 1 touchdown pass, and he went 19 for 38. That's 50% passing game. Either he was short passed, overthrown. The Patriots defense was doing anything that was in their hands. That Seattle defense was a nightmare for Drake May and that New England Patriots offense. Nick, that's what went wrong.
Well, besides the fact that Bad Bunny had more rushing yards than the entire Patriots offense, I would really like to get 124 yards rushing for Bad Bunny. By the way, shout out. But for the most part, man, the reason why I was giving you hope,
the MVP goes to Nick Dupont.
And listen, man. I genuinely think the Patriots, they had probably one of the worst offensive games I've ever seen. It goes back, the one game that I thought about with them that really similar to the way they played was the game against the Raiders when they lost earlier in the season, where they just looked lost. They did not look right. They didn't look ready at all. Drake May probably had the worst quarterback performance out of any quarterback in Super Bowl history, with a 16.3 QBR, which is awful. Like, because you look at the stats, he almost had 300 yards passing, but he also had 3 turnovers. Yes, I don't want to discredit the Seahawks defense for playing absolutely amazing. But man, the Patriots, I was really high on their defense going into it, and I said it that Christian Gonzalez was going to have an amazing game, and that he was going to lock down JSN, and he did his job.
He was the MVP. He was the MVP of that game.
Oh, that was mine. No, even if they lost, I think that was my MVP going into it, right? Leaving that game, regardless of if they won or lost. If he had that interception, if he had 2 interceptions that he dropped, one of them was harder than the other. I think he would have won the MVP with 1,000%. But if you look at guys like Craig Woodson, Marcus Jones, or even Carlton Davis, who all had fantastic games, I really think the linebacking core just got tired towards the end of the game. They were just not ready. They were not able to hold up at that point. Kenneth Walker was just running the ball all over them. And honestly, man, like, New England should have just kept trying to move that ball. Like, yeah, you had Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson with only 6 to 7 carries each. Sorry, what I did there.
Drake May had more rushing yards than both of them.
Yeah, but a lot of those rushing yards were just scrambles.
Running for his life. That's what I'm saying. Running for his life.
1,000%. I really feel like they should have stayed more towards running the ball in that scenario, because it got to the point where I won't forget it, that Mike Vrabel on a 3rd and 13 decided to run a damn bubble screen for Stephon Diggs that went absolutely nowhere. And for me, that was like, yeah, bro, I don't see what the vision is with this offense right now. Like, you guys are trying to make something, but it's not really working out. But Seattle just proved to everybody that New England did not deserve to be there. I think that's the main story that we can come up with. Because yes, New England had an amazing season and an amazing postseason run, but that schedule was way too easy for them, especially for the moments that they were in, and especially towards the end of the season when they went up against the Broncos, who, if they had Bo Nix, would have won, in my opinion. Or even if freaking Sean Payton kicked that field goal in the first half to go up 10-0, they probably would have won that game. New England's defense has just been the staple for them all season, I feel like. Drake May, obviously MVP season, balling out, but did not look like MVP anywhere.
I'm glad they gave it to Matthew Stafford. I'm glad they. Can you imagine if he would have won the MVP after that performance?
Oh no, they were not going to give it to him. They would not.
Because Matthew Stafford outdueled, and he outdueled.
Yeah, I know.
That Seahawks game.
Yeah,
And, like, who was the better quarterback?
No, definitely Matthew
Stafford.
Like, mind you, I mean, and still to this moment, I think the Rams are better than the Seahawks. I just think they got caught lacking in that game. I'm not gonna lie. I think the Rams could have won it all this season. But that defense from Seattle, they showed up in big moments. They had to hold people when they needed to hold people. I like Uchenna Nwosu, Byron Murphy, amazing games by those guys specifically. I like to shout out to those guys. But man, like, Seattle just really proved to everybody that New England just did not deserve to be there in that moment. I think if you had a team maybe like the Broncos,
calm down.
Listen, man, I'm stating what I saw. Like, the New England Patriots looked like the team that you saw last season, where they just looked completely lost in the moment, and just Seattle's defense just took over, and the offensive line just completely collapsed. Not what I expected. Watching Will Campbell, out of all players, who's had an amazing season for a rookie, just get bombarded. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was.
They had They had a rookie guard or a rookie left tackle, but during the postseason, but during the postseason, guys, they weren't doing a good job. It was mostly that defense, because they were allowing 5 sacks per game towards Drake May.
But this is where
and they still find ways to win. So we give credit to what credit is due. It just hurts.
True, but when it comes to Will, obviously he was the biggest
Yeah,
disappointment in terms
I
of
agree.
protection. But like, for
1000%.
example, like Nick, I want to talk with you about this because you're always like our closest to a scout, really. So when it comes to, like, obviously for offensive linemen, footwork is crucial
Yep.
to
Yes,
really
a
find
thousand
find
percent.
success. But how can you do that when your knee is basically out of commission?
Well, at that point, you just have to rely solely on your upper body and just being a brick wall, which at that point won't work in today's NFL. I like to compare guys like Leon Eichenberg, for example, coming out of Michigan, looked like a fantastic offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins, being an absolute brick wall. But his biggest thing was that he had no footwork and no planting whatsoever. The guy couldn't move. Again, he was just a brick wall.
Yeah.
And that kind of went for Will Campbell towards the end of the season because remember he got injured, and like you were talking about his injury right now, and you saw that clearly. Like he was just getting manhandled every 2 seconds, and linemen were just scooping right underneath the inside of the line or on the outside of the line. Like they were doing whatever they wanted with that guy. And I don't want to single out Will Campbell because there was one play in specific that I remember. I forgot who the guard was, but the rookie defensive tackle for the Seattle Seahawks literally manhandled their left guard and sacked Drake May while holding him down to the ground. Like I hadn't seen that in a
We know
while.
the play you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, like I hadn't seen that in a very long time. So yes, like you could just look at Will Campbell and be like, he is an exception because of the injury, but people got to live up to those big moments, man. And it's not just one person in that area; it's an entire line that needs to be working together, and that line just did not work together. Yeah, players were moving, but for the most part, man, they just got manhandled. Like on 3rd and 8, you would see the Seattle Seahawks literally lining up in blitz formation. You knew what was coming immediately, and the line was just not being able to hold them whatsoever because either one guy would go around the one side, one guy would go in the middle. Like you could not stop it. So again, like I don't necessarily think it was more of a Patriots problem on the offensive line. It's just they've been going through so many great defenses the entire playoff run that at that point it's just like you have to rely on Drake May for making those big plays in those scenarios. And thankfully, it's like
McDaniels and Rabel's play call was horrible. Like they couldn't find a
1,000%,
way to
1,000%. But I feel
Yeah.
like you got to shout out the defense for that in that scenario too,
Yeah, of
for
course.
even making those plays to like shut
All right,
down the
so
offense.
all right, let's wrap it up because I'm done
Well,
discussing.
hang
the
on. We
Will-
got a message before. We got another message before we get to our last
before
topic.
yeah before that. Everybody knows why I'm wearing Puerto Rico. Like Nick said, Bad Bunny had more rushing yards than Drake May, Ramondre Stevenson, Trevajan Henderson's, and he for me was the biggest noise. He broke record TV ratings. And this goes every single hater of him. Like, guys, I know like it was a Spanish performance. When Jennifer Lopez and Shakira did it, they sang English, so it's understandable. But what? Even though I respect the United States, where I'm a U.S. territory, this is my home. This is my future for the rest of my life. First of
You're a
all,
U.S. citizen, bro. You were born in Puerto Rico.
and that gets to me to what I saw about Kristen Ball that tells Tommy Lauren. Remember that interview? That he's not American. He's part America. He's part of America. He's from Puerto Rico. He's part of America. The year like you see so many haters afterwards. Look what he did. Like worldwide, everybody watched the Super Bowl, and that's a good business deal for Roger Goodell and the whole entire league. Which why they keep expanding games to South America, to the exterior, to Europe. Like this was an amazing performance, and a lot of Americans are supporting this. So I don't know what's the hatred of him not able to sing English because that's not his, I'm saying, option. All I gotta say that he blew the roof. And congratulations for Bonnie representing Puerto Rico and mentioning a lot of countries around this
1,000%.
world.
He really, I feel like in that, sorry to cut you off, but I really feel like he stood for unity over everything else in that performance. And
Amen.
that's something that a lot of people were just divided on from the beginning, if that's how it was going to be. And he really showed to everybody that he's an American citizen. And, like the things that we saw in that performance, it really symbolized American culture as a whole, from like everyone being different from each other. Because mind you, everyone has weddings with different music, different food, different things that they enjoy. Or even like we saw the grandpas playing dominoes. Like you have old ladies playing bridge in the yard. You have like people playing mahjong and stuff like that. Like that's the beauty about American culture, of how different everyone can be. And that's why I enjoyed the show, because he represented that he may be different in the sense that he's a Latino Puerto Rican, but he's an American, and he's showing his differences to America and how everyone at the end of the day is different but the same because we are American. That's what makes us special.
Could I have said it better, Nick?
We have a good
All
time.
right, Nick. You also, since you finished off on a high
Ooh.
note.
Well, listen, man. I'm at this hour. I'm getting pretty hungry. I'm not gonna lie, but luckily, Metropol Restaurant has opened in Miami. Right in Dolphin Mall, where you can enjoy the best Puerto Rican and Cuban dishes, where you can try some amazing food like the best pork, ribs, stuffed chicken, Congri rice, croquetas, and way much more. So, guys, please go check out Metropol Restaurant. Shout out Metropol. Thank you again for everything. We love you.
Thank you, Metropol, for sponsoring us.
Let's
Let's go. All right, so now we're going to a topic that I'm going to give it to Anthony because this was surprising. Hey, it's been years. Anthony's finally getting
fighting. Listen, I've been living and dying on this mountain for the past 3 years. I am so happy.
So
we're finally on this side.
So look at this image.
Nick, I represent North Carolina more than you in this case.
Actually, I was gonna say something about North Carolina, but I'm technically wearing a South Carolina shirt right now. So you know what? There you go.
Nick, you see that picture?
Oh, I love that picture. I love it.
Most of the
Abate, man.
The Abate is
right.
Most of the Abate is Anthony, and I'm Jalen Duran. Because when I met Anthony 2 years ago, I said that the Pistons are coming. And in that same season, there already was a threat in the East. They were competitive against the Knicks. And then he kept wrapping his head on, no, the Hornets, they got better talent, this and that. They're going to be a playoff team before the Pistons. And now, 2 seasons later, the Pistons are number 1 in the East. They can actually make it to the Eastern Conference. The Hornets had another rough start. But now they want to roll until they face who? They face the Detroit Pistons, looking like the bad boy Pistons from the late 80s and the early 21st century. All right, but this is what happened after the brawl. 7-game suspension for Isaiah Stewart, 2 for Jalen Duran, and 2 for Moussa Diabate and Miles Bridges, 4 for each. Now, before we talk about the possible rise of the Hornets, quick reaction. Was it justified? Both of you at the same time. The suspensions.
For me specifically, my only issue was with Duran. I think he should have gone a little bit more. Because Moussa had the hard foul.
He slapped him. Yeah,
exactly. Moussa did have the hard foul. I understand that he had the hard foul and he reacted more, which made things more intense. But you put your hand on the guy's face in those 2 games. No. It's clearly because he's an all-star this year. That's the only reason why. If it was not an all-star, he would get maybe like 6.
I thought I was going to cost him the all-star game, a suspension.
I thought Isaiah Stewart would get like at least 10. He only got 7. I'm like,
I agree with that.
More than 7.
I agree with that, Anthony, because this has been the second. This was basically 2.0.
Yeah,
Isaiah Stewart reaction like he did with the Lakers. This was 2.0 Isaiah Stewart.
So
exactly.
I think everything else is justified. I'm good
with Miles.
I'm good with Moussa with 4. I'm good with Isaiah with 7 to a certain extent. But Duran only getting 2, I'm not with that. I think he should have got at least 5. Maybe even 6 or maybe even 8. But I wasn't with just 2.
It should have been exactly that, 50%. 5 for Jalen, 10 for Isaiah, because Isaiah was in the bench. And then he
threw hands.
And then he came to say that, that's why the Pistons drafted me. What?
Technically, yeah.
Okay, I understand. So they drafted you to basically fight everybody. I understand. One thing is defend your teammates. I understand that. You got your brother's backs.
Raul, not to cut you off, but we have to be careful on time here.
If he wants to play football, he can play football.
Yeah, no, I know, but at the same time, and you know this because of course you are the MJ stand-up here. I mean, we saw what the Pistons did around him. It was all fight. I mean, that was the whole league, of course. So if anything, this is their identity for years.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up.
Yes.
Quick reactions, I say. We'll give it to me and Nick quick, and then you can wrap it up, Anthony. Do we see the rise of the Hornets in the East, Nick? You got notes? Quick.
Listen. I do
Come on.
believe that the Hornets can rise, but after this, we need to see if emotionally they can continue this momentum moving forward. Because now, after this, a lot of teams normally struggle emotionally trying to
Wanna
find
see
their way
Anthony's
after
face.
something like this with suspensions. And I'm not even just trying to make this up just to piss you off. And it's the truth. You know, we've seen
No,
teams completely
so
collapse
far you're
after
not pissing me
moments
off
like
just
this.
yet.
But for the most part, man, I need to see more out of this team. I need to see more, man. Like I definitely think they could. I definitely think they can make a push for the playoffs over a lot of other teams right now. And I don't think anyone else would want more than an 8 seed Hornets versus a 1 seed Pistons, just to
Okay.
really build a rivalry like that. Because I think everyone would like to see that. But this is something that they need to implement more, in my opinion. Just the NBA needs to implement more aggressiveness and more fighting. As much as people hate the fighting and all that stuff, I think we need to see more of that because we can start building rivalries like this again. Because if we can see
Yes.
a rivalry like this develop in the playoffs, I'm telling you right now, the Hornets are going to ride that momentum.
That's
And a lot of teams will ride that momentum. So
that's why all of us missed David Stern as a commissioner because Adam Silver, like a lot of people say that he's been taking like good decisions, like
I mean,
changing
this
different
season
formats during
alone
the
just
season,
shows-
the All-Star, this and that. But I feel like
So
David
just to-
Stern.
Just to wrap it up so you can go and then we can give Anthony the floor. I need to see more from this team still. I need to see a
I agree.
really proven I need to see them prove themselves. Yes, 9 games is awesome. It is awesome to watch. But I need to see like them
Consistency.
yes, I need to see the consistency like from a game to game basis. And I know that you're going to say, "Oh, it's 9 games." Yeah, that's good enough. Sure. But we need to see what happens after this because again, emotionally, these players are going to come out rugged. They're going to come out pissed because of guys getting suspended, and we need to see if they can even overcome that adversity that they're going to be facing now with these guys even being out, who are big contributors for their roster. Raul?
Quick, Anthony.
Mhm.
I understand it because they are actually rising this season. Look how the East is basically prone to injuries. Like it's a more flexible conference. If they were in the West, I would say hail
Yeah,
to the
no, this wouldn't
no.
be a topic
I
in
would
the
say,
West.
but defensively, they have progressed. They're doing a better job than offensively, and at the same time, with the new transitions and trades, like I like this young team. It's a team that's developing. Look at Brandon Miller; he's leading in scoring. Look at LaMelo Ball; like he's been talking about trade rumors, but I think that's gonna stop if this team continues to like assemble, continues to like
That's
get
my
that
biggest
chemistry.
wild card that you say him. That is my biggest wild card.
Yeah, because remember we were hearing trade rumors about LaMelo Ball. A lot of teams interested in him, but he's still the face of the franchise. Khan right now is in a tight race
Ballin', bro.
with Cooper Cup. I mean,
Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag. Jesus, Cooper Flag to win
You're
Rookie
all
of the
rusty
Year. To win Rookie of the Year, and I like their big men. You got a veteran like Miles Bridges. Like this is a good team. I like it. Do I see them in the play-in? Yes. Do I see them finishing from number 1 to 6? Hell no. So I can agree that they're on their way to being a team that can in the nearest future make noise in the East. But just to wrap it up, I'll ask you this question. 2 weeks ago, 16 and 25. 16 and 29, sorry. Now they're 25 and 29. Will we be having this conversation, Anthony? Be honest.
If they were still losing, though, I'll admit.
At least you're honest.
I'm not. Listen, I'm delusional, but I'm honest with you guys. I'm like, you know me. I may be delusional, but at least at times I can be realistic. But here's the thing: the Hornets are here. Screw it, man. The Hornets are here. I don't give a damn about what happened 2 weeks ago. What happened just now? They went on a 9-game winning streak. They went
Looking like they're going to get their 10th.
against the number 1 team in the Eastern
Looking like
Conference.
we're going to get their 10th. Yeah, that's true.
It took Jalen Duren to fighting everybody and backing away from everybody, by the way. He started something he couldn't even finish, by the way. It took that to beat a Hornets team that was riding a 9-game win streak.
I like how they got each other's back. And
I'm going to take that back. It's not their 10th. They lost to the Pistons. I'm not going to take that back. Sorry.
But listen,
they could have won that game. They could have won that game. Like they could have continued, and they play the Hawks tonight.
Mhm.
And I put them as a favorite to win that game.
In this matchup but because of dirt and messing everything up, obviously that snapped their chances. Nah, don't give me that. They were in it. They were in it before that happened. They were in it.
No, they were in it. I'm not gonna. But that fight was the reason why.
Also, here's the thing. You look at the Eastern Conference. The Bucks are virtually out of there. They're not doing anything this year, and so they're out of there. Everyone else is tanking. The play-in tournament right now is Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, and Charlotte. Charlotte, I believe, can beat any of those teams, and we can't even defend the Heat right now because they just lost to the damn Jazz when 3 starters didn't play a single minute in the fourth quarter. By the way, so we can't even defend them. They beat the Magic before, I think, twice this season.
Well, he had to bring out nothing. He had to bring
nothing on the Hornets.
He had to bring Miami, right? He literally had to.
I'm listing everybody. So I'm saying that they beat the Magic twice already.
All right, are they above? Are they up? If they continue to escalate positions, and because I can see the Hornets entering, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. Play in, yeah, I can see them.
No, I see. But here's the thing: because of the bad start,
do you think they're gonna have a better record than the Sixers, the Raptors, the Cavaliers, the Knicks?
No, I don't. I think they're gonna finish in the play-in, but I think they're gonna be in that 9-10 spot. But I think when you look at that play-in picture, you look at the teams above you. I like the Hornets' chances. I really do. Against all of them, against Atlanta, against Miami, and against Orlando. They've shown they can beat Orlando twice already. The Heat have been so inconsistent on their own, and in Atlanta, they just got rid of all their players, and yeah, they got some decent veterans. But again, I would love the Charlotte Hornets' chances.
They play tonight.
I've been on this hill for 3 years. I've been dying on this take for 3 years, and it is finally paying off. The Hornets are going to the playoffs this year. I don't give a damn. We ride it.
All right, so we're gonna finish on that note. If Nick, you want to say something, all I'm gonna say is that Anthony sounds like a delusional Cowboy fan. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, I wouldn't stretch to be delusional. I see where you come from, Anthony, entirely, but
Conconnable is rookie of the year, and it's not even close.
Conconnable, like right now, over Cooper Flag,
over Cooper, 1,000%.
Tight race.
I agree with that. I do agree with that, Anthony. That Conconnable over Cooper Flag right now. That those numbers just do not lie. They're almost averaging the exact same production, and those numbers that Conconnable's putting up is insane. As for
Hornets got a better record as well. So
also the 3-point shooting from Con right now.
Oof. Damn.
Listen. It might sound crazy, but Steph Curry's record might be on watch right now.
All right, so
it is. Yeah. But very quickly, I would like to mention this though. The Charlotte Hornets, 1,000%, in my opinion, will make the play-in. I really think they're going to make the play-in this year.
I agree.
Now, with teams like Orlando and Miami who have been inconsistent, and I thought Orlando was going to have a major jump this year, and that clearly is not paying off on that. They're very disappointing for this season.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
When playing comes, all of a sudden Miami does a light switch. Orlando enters the playoffs. You gotta take that into consideration as well.
Wait. Oh, wait, Nick. Damn. Wait, Raul, real quick. On the play-in thing.
Yeah.
In those runs, they had a guy who really leveled up his play. I'm not even saying his name.
Don't gotta say it. All right, Anthony, just because we're already hitting the 1 hour mark. Just quick, and then Nick, you can finish it off.
I'll be fast.
Wait. Before I give it to you, quick. Anthony, we didn't even want to make it to the damn playoffs. And without that guy that you are mentioning, we won 2 road games in the play-in when we could have had the number 1 pick. I'm telling you, man. Miami all of a sudden does a light switch when we don't want him to do it.
All right, Nick.
Can Brandon Miller perform in the big moments that they need to? That's what I need to see. Can LaMelo Ball be there for them? And we've seen him be there from time to time. Can Conconnable perform in the play-in when the brights shine the lightest?
I think
that is what we need to see in these moments.
I think Conconnable can perform in clutch moments and when they need him to score over Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball, and Brandon Miller.
But the thing is, the difference between Orlando and Miami is the amount of experience that these 2 teams have with.
Agree. I think, No, that was a good take from Nick. Like we said, at the end of the day, those teams have been in the play-in.
I was just going to end it because apparently my technical problems do not want me to get my take.
I got you. All right,
bro. Just end it.
All right, everybody.
End it.
That was a good episode of Section 305, the Sports Show. I'm Raul Pagan with my colleagues Nick Dupont and Anthony Aguirre. Guys,
Hornets are here.
we'll see you next week.